What's up, guys? River's back. We're back on the Cigar Som page today. Like I showed on Instagram, the other account is now closed, but now I have free reign to do whatever I'd like with the channel. And of course, I think that's going to give you guys a lot better content, a lot of different things that you may have been looking for or not, and hopefully you'll learn a thing or two from it. But we are smoking a cigar today. So let's go take a look in the humidor and see what we can get. All right, looks like we got the Mombacho Liga Maestro. This is the Hermoso size. I think it's a 6 1/4 by 46. I know it's a Nicaraguan Puro, and that's really all I know about it. So let's go ahead and get into this thing with a cut and a light, and we'll be back to you in a second. All right, guys, we're about 5 minutes in right now. So to me, this is just a chocolate bomb. So far, there's a slight woodiness, there's a slight sweetness, it's not super complex like I actually thought it was going to be right off of the first light. But for the guys that say that they can't really pull out flavors, this is one instance where it doesn't matter. I hate the term, but the mouthfeel is very oily, it's rich, it coats the palate. It's not activating every single part of your palate, but it's activating the inside of your cheeks, it's activating the sides of your tongue, the center of your tongue, your mouth is watering. You can just tell it's like somebody just put a 30-ounce bone-in ribeye on your plate. Your mouth is just ready to get all that it can out of the cigar. So it's very enjoyable. Like I said, it's not to where I can pick out, rosemary and clove out of it. It's just a sweet milk chocolate, and there's a slight woodiness there that's not even discernible as a cedar or an oak or anything like that. There's a vanilla, that's part of that sweetness that's coming in there, but other than that, it's just a really darn good cigar. It's medium bodied, it's medium strength, medium flavor so far is what it seems like. Yeah, it's just staying pretty consistent. The smoke's nice and cool. Only thing that I've had a little trouble with is it looks like the mascara line is fairly thick, and it keeps acting like it's wanting to go out. As you guys may have saw, I've already touched it up one time, and it wasn't because it was burning wonky. It was just because it just acts like it wants to go out. So I'm trying to aid in that. All right, guys, we're only about 15 minutes in, about halfway through the first third, but I had to come back with an update because that milky sweet chocolate has turned into like a 90% dark chocolate, super earthy, really gritty. It tastes like a Connecticut broadleaf or even a Pennsylvanian grown broadleaf wrapper. It's got a lot of those rich, dark, very substantial notes, but I still have not tasted any spice at all. Wow, did you guys see that hole? So, if you've never seen a cigar tunneling before, that's exactly what it looks like. If you ever are drawing on a cigar and you're thinking, man, it's warm, it's drawing good, but I'm not getting any taste. I'm not getting any smoke output. 90% chance that it's tunneling. But one thing very unique about this is I've never had one tunnel that bad and not mess with the cigar at all. It's actually drawing better now, and smoke output is better now since that tunnel appeared. And usually what happens, if you have a cigar that it starts tunneling, and you know it is, you can kind of touch up the wrapper all along the mascara line and try to keep the ash on there as long as possible, because that ash is actually making the draw a little bit tougher. Just be careful when you are smoking a cigar, and that happens. The faster you draw on it, the more you draw on it, because that'll make you want to do double puffs and triple puffs and puff it really fast and then slow and change it up, and that's just going to get the cherry red hot, and then that tunnel is going to keep continuing to go down, and it's not going to fix itself. Now, as far as the flavor goes, I told you it was getting darker, it's getting richer. It did, and then it got light and sweet, and milk chocolate and vanilla and honeysuckle again, and then now it's going back dark again. Pretty cedar forward right on the draw, and then rolling into the finish, you get that earthiness, you get that grittiness, you start getting into a little bit of a tangy note, which kind of plays with that cedar. It's like a astringent cedar, like it was right off the first draw. It's really good, it's really complex. The chocolate is definitely a cocoa, like a powder. It's not velvety smooth or anything like that. It's got a texture to it, and I think that's it kind of mending with that grittiness to it. But this is weird. I would have never guessed that this is a Nicaraguan Puro, so it's keeping me on my toes. I like that, I enjoy that. It keeps me intrigued with this cigar from the beginning to the end. So we'll keep going with this and see where it gets us. The cigar is not changing that much anymore. The further I get into it, the more earthy, the more gritty it gets. There's some of that truffle coming in. It is a little taxing on the center of the palate. You still are getting the activation of the sides and the back, but the activation in the center of your palate is very dark. It's very rich. So you are still getting that earthiness. You're still getting the chocolates. I would say that the chocolate is actually getting a little bit more creamy. It's kind of getting away from that powder aspect. It's getting a little bit more into like an actual piece of chocolate. The vanilla is still there. Where are you going? But either way, the cigar is doing good. It's not burning too bad at all. There's been a couple touch-ups here and there. Now, I had a couple videos that I put inside of here of me touching it up. That's my way of touching it up. A lot of people say, oh, the least amount of times you can touch it up, the better, because you're heating up the cherry every single time that you touch it up. And yes, technically you are, but most of the time when people are speaking about that, they are talking about taking the lighter and jamming it into the side of this cigar. And as you guys saw, the way that I touch my cigars up, which I think everybody should do it this way because you're going to impact the flavor of the cigar the least amount doing it this way, is literally just taking the heat of the cigar as far away as possible and heating up the edge of that cigar so that you're burning the tobacco, but it's just combusting on its own, and you're actually not even pointing it at the cigar itself. You're pointing it next to the cigar, so you're really not heating up the cigar very much at all, especially to taste a difference in that. The Master Blender intended it to be tasted one way, and that is burning completely perfectly. So I would always recommend to touch it up if it is burning incorrectly, but do it the correct way, or do it the way that you're best going to be able to taste the flavors out of the cigars as the cigar goes on. We're finishing up this cigar. It's definitely getting more earthy. There's a musty note coming in. I saw on the back of the band that it was actually the cosecha is from 2017. That means that the crop is from 2017, which is not that old when it comes to cigars. But of course that made my mind think, hey, there's some sort of mustiness there. There's an age there, but the cocoa's still there. So the profile now is very dark. It's musty. It's like a damp earth floor, like a foliage type. There is a little twinge of that chocolate left, but it's very dark. There's also a little bit of an espresso note, but it is bitter. So the end here, when it's getting a little bit warmer, and we still have about 1.5 inches left, but it's going ahead and starting to get warm, so I'm going to lay this down soon. So at $10 a stick, it's been about 1 hour and 40 minutes smoke for me, so it's not a bad value for what you're getting. It is a good profile. It's not my preferred profile, but it is fairly enjoyable, especially the first and the second third. This final third is getting a little dark. So as far as a pairing goes, even though it is darker, it's not super full bodied, so the flavors aren't in your face, and it's not just exploding on your palate at all. So I wouldn't go with a darker whiskey or anything like that. In my head, without trying it, I would say that this would go very well with a Syrah or even a Pinot Noir. That like a Pinot Noir from Oregon is usually very earthy. It's got a lot of those dark fruit notes. It's got the mustiness, especially from like the 2015, 2016 vintage. I think that would go very well with it. I think they would complement each other very well. I don't think either one would take away from each other, but I think it would actually put that earthy note kind of in the background. So I think you may be able to accentuate a little bit more flavor out of it, which I think would be pretty good. But this is the first of the Mombacho brand that I've had, and it is a pretty good cigar, so I'm definitely looking forward to trying some more of their cigars out. The ash has been fairly good, other than having to touch it up a lot. Like even right now, talking for about 1.5 minutes, it's wanting to go out on me, so I'm going to do the same thing that I was talking about earlier, which is you just kiss the end of the mascara line all the way around, blow on it to make sure it ignited, and we're getting plumes of smoke again. So you don't have to draw the flame through the cigar. You should always try to not do that ever, because that does release a lot of the oils from the tobacco, which is going to in turn take away from the flavor the more you smoke it, because the oils in the tobacco leaves are what give it that flavor. So try your best to not do that. There's really actually no situation that you would have to do that unless you're in very windy conditions, you're not able to toast it. Then I would try to actually go inside and light it. But thank you guys for tuning in to the new Cigar Somm page. If you guys want to see some pairings, if you got any cigars that you want to see, please let me know. I'll be happy to do them. I have a big selection that I can choose from as of right now. So I'd love to take some of you guys' recommendations and definitely get that in the lineup. I'm still trying to change up the setting the lights, the camera, the audio. I want you guys to let me know what you think. Please hit the like button, hit the subscribe button so you can know when I put out new videos, and please leave a comment and let me know what you think. Thank you guys again for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.